Liri, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate you taking the time to have a conversation with me. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Yes. First, I want to thank you so much for taking time and inviting me to express my platform, which already it's over because I endorsed someone else. His name is George Krum, and I want to thank you all your staff and all my supporters that even though I said that I endorsed somebody else and still voted for me. Uh, I am from Albania, and I have a sister that is from another mother, Dua Lipa, and I am so happy to be part of that country.
If you could
Um,
introduce me, that'd be great. I'll give you some tickets.
uh,
Introduce me. Can you introduce me to Dua Lipa? That'd be great.
so I came from the country that was communism, and then socialist country, and I came here in United States for better life, for freedom, for the best country in earth. I worked first in a gold factory in Rubico is called as a an accountant, and then I started to work in a hospital Mother Teresa University in open heart surgery, cardiac OR, which I had pleasure to work with the doctors from Italy, Germany, Turkey, Arabia, all over the world. It was really a very good experience. In 1999, it was Kosovo War. I was pulled out from my job that I was in Hospital Mother Teresa University, which is teaching hospital, and I worked in military hospital for around 9 months. Um, I did experience uh, war in Albania, so I've been through two wars: Kosovo War and Albania War, and I do have the scars to prove it. Like John McCain said, in all over my hand, one in my neck, and in my two legs.
Wow.
So it was very tough experience. Um, then I went to Geneva Convention for 1 month. It was completely different experience there. Um, for first time, I experienced Halloween uh, holiday that I was not aware of because we never celebrated it back in Albania. I moved to United States, and I was lucky to be U.S. citizen legally, and I started to work in hospital, Virginia Hospital, Arlington, in operating room. Then from there, I moved to Reston, Virginia Hospital in operating room too. And then I moved to Sibley Memorial Hospital, John Hopkins. There, I got injured on operating room, so I did open my medical adult daycare. It's called Santorini Medical Adult Daycare. And now I'm in another facility that is called New Life Medical Adult Daycare. I work for law office, Richard Martel Jr., Esquire, and I just will be sworn on this month, August 30, as a public notary, national public notary. This is my background.
Awesome. So, could you tell me what inspired you to run? What was it? What would you hope to accomplish? What are the things you think would make our country better?
Well, it's all about new beginnings for me, which will be representing the start of a journey and embracing to the unknown, because this road is unknown, is different laws and regulations where I grew up. I've been wanting to move in brand new direction, and this is my signal for my dream to finally go for it. And yes, exploring uncharted territory can be scary. It's always so much easier to stick with what we know. However, my safety zone is not where the greatest growth and fulfillment happens. I'm throwing out the roadmap and take a leap of faith. I believe I could end up somewhere better than I expected. Right now, all that on my mind is changing the world for the better and helping others. During that game changing moment in history, I'm hoping to give all to those in need more than most people are willing to do that. There is a selflessness and desire to heal and mend the wounds of the world, which are living in a really daunted time. COVID and war in a war in Ukraine, and scary every time Iran or North Korea said that we just gonna push the button and we're gonna freeze United States. Or but if they do that, they don't know, they will freeze themselves too. So it's scary moment. Um, with my heart growing and expanding, I want to give unconditionally without wanting anything in return. However, it's important to remember that I can't pour from an empty cup. So remember we have to protect our energy in a difficult moment. I think that most biggest issues we are facing is trust, corruption, and security threat. Those three things happen in my country, and I have flashback. Before we started a war in my country, in Albania, the trust on government was graded lower and lower every day. And I see here with the police, with the um, officers, and everywhere, they really don't believe anymore. They don't trust anymore. Corruption is number one. That is like a cancer that grows, then you don't know, and before you know, you can stop it. And same thing was back in my country. um, I remember when police stopped my brother, and they pointed the finger like to the throat like this, and my brother pulled from his wallet money and gave it to him. I look at him and I said, I was here in the United States, and I look at him and I said, what is this, Sander? And he said, in order for you to survive, you have to give something to them. Well, how did you understand? I said, well, putting the finger here, that means it wants to drink. And they don't drink, for instance, soda, but it's called Joni, which I didn't know that it was Joni, is whiskey. So, and security threat is growing more and more. Many countries do not trust us too, because used to be before, United States was like a god. If you see American officer or embassy, or they felt like it's something different, something special. Now they don't care much. And when I used to go back to Greece, will ask my brother, said, where's she from? And when they see the American passport, they just let me go, did not even check me or anything. And my brother too let him go. Now I have to stay in a line for hours like everybody else, and they ask question, where are you coming from, how are you going to stay, where are you going to stay, and all kind of stuff. um I focused on my three biggest issues that my district faces is mental illness, homelessness, and an economy that is getting worse every day. And how are we going to fix those things? The many friends and constituents tell me that, well, do you know what it means to run for Congress? And is not your thing to do homeless and mental illness, and you got to work on legislation. And my answer was that, yeah, it's true that I have to work in legislation, but my first priority is constituents going there and knowing what is their issues. And I will have sources that I can bring it from Congress directly to my constituents. And if I change the way of living my constituents, and then Congress will be stronger. So it's not just going in office or raising your hand, yeah, no, it's not my, I will not run for Congress for that reason. Well, they said, well, why don't you run for something lower, for instance, delegate? Yeah, I said, that's good point. But running for Congress, you have more options. And I have more experience in a foreigner. And I will be more able to stand up and explain to my colleagues in Congress that, hey, the immigration legislation should be modified in this way because I experienced this or I experienced that. And because I have background for that. And in meantime, health care. Healthcare is not really in a good stand in United States. First is drowning entire country's economy down to the ground. It's big corporation, big pharmacies that donate to people they run for Congress, delegates, or to city, officials. Therefore, they run away with this very big expense on healthcare. And healthcare is not exactly it's not Obamacare, but it's not Trump care. So we need in the middle. So it's not perfect Obamacare, but at least everybody has healthcare, and healthcare is not a privilege. Everybody should have access to healthcare in a way, in one way or the other. Um, so how we can end homeless? Homeless can be ended by closing loopholes in housing market. For instance, I did take some kind of classes, and I was involved because I have no idea what is real estate. Matter of fact, I took, even though I'm a Democrat, but when he's to support me, I took Donald Trump in 2007. He was all over the United States, real estate classes. It cost me $22,000 just to learn what was the real estate and how is real estate market working. So the reason I'm raising this issue is, for instance, in Baltimore City, it was raised the water bill and is sky high. What happened? Many residents lost their houses, even small portion of delinquent water bill. So they turned those houses and sold it for $1. That is very, very wrong. And who bought those? Those houses was bought from people that work in City Hall. One of them was the one controller's office that was in charge for Miss Pat. And I raised the issue to her. I raised a question, and I said, why water bill in Baltimore City is higher than Baltimore County? And her answer was that no, because we support Baltimore County with water, we supply, and they pay, let's say, they pay $13 every 3 months, whether you use it or not. I pay in my house $46 with a zero consumption of water and zero sewage. And I said, why I have this bill? So she tried to, to tell the public that is not true, and that goes to the mortgage, and but it eventually is their strategy that many people lost their houses and are going to lose it more and more, plus the jobs. If you lose a job, you can't have a house, you can't pay the bills. So I feel that in United States that had the greatest government in the world, and has been disintegrated over the past centuries by people driven to corrupt federal government. And you see in Baltimore City, the right now the prosecutor is under investigation, and we are waiting for her for the trial date to, you know, it's so sad though. And two mayors, past mayors, that was charged for fraud. And the other issue is that candidate become a puppet for to the donors, because the campaigns are run on money. If you have money and you are possible to win, and but if you receive money from donors, you become a puppet. You have to give them in return. Therefore, you're going to use your position, your power. And the other thing is that I was like fighting for Congress does not have term limits. And if you don't have term limits, I feel I'm in communism. We used to say in my country that when you climb in a horse, and that means you are high, so it's difficult to put you down. So in my country, for instance, during the communist country, you can, if you are able to get in a position, nobody will kick you out. And same thing is in a Congress. They are dying in Congress, illegally coming. Brought tons of money to Baltimore City. But where this money went to Morgan State, only to Morgan State, because he was a president there. So what did he do with this money in Baltimore City? Towards the real people that are in the street, the squeegee kids, they are killing innocent drivers? Nothing. And that was my issue, that I said we need to have term limits. And United States is a huge melting pot. We may miss the brilliant person that can move us forward and not backwards. Why not try those instead? Me being in office until I die. So I am for term limits.
Gotcha. So there's a question from the audience. He asked, How is there a way? Is everyone entitled to a job, a bed, a meal, a roof, and a toilet? And if yes, is there a way to make that economically viable without creating unrealistic burden on U.S. citizens and taxpayers?
If I have a power, everyone should have a job. And United States is not that are not contributing to get a job to everybody, but is not following through. We are investing a lot of money to workforce development, and people are getting trained. They are not going to work, or we are not helping open the doors for them to go to that particular training they picked. And the other issue is in United States that well, it's better than anywhere else. But we should work more to find out what these people like to do. Because if you force them to go, let's say that I am a nurse and you force me to go in a farm, I will not give that all my heart to that job. Yes, they are entitled to the jobs, and if we have more jobs, people they are working, they pay more taxes. They will support more social services, and they have a roof over their head, and government should not pay um, billions and billions on Section 8. And the other thing, Section 8 is connected with a real estate. So who owns those Section 8? Those big investors. Those investors that are playing with the officials, city or state or county officials. So they raise taxes, they get them out, and they get those houses and make it for Section 8. The Section 8 is kind of like a ring that is connected, and it's hard to break it. If we don't break that ring, the the debt in United States is going to go higher and higher.
Are you worried that the Democratic Party is becoming more like socialism in Albania, where you come from?
Um, I am in the middle. When I decided to run for Congress, I did not decide, for instance, okay, I need the Democrat votes, so therefore I want to be a Democrat, or I want to be a Republican. No, I'm in the middle. Here is my personal view. I could be wrong. Republicans want to have everything for themselves. They are more capitalist. The Democrats are a little bit, or I would say more than a little bit, careless. They spend a lot, and they don't know where to spend it or how to. And they come with a flag that we say, oh, we are for poor people, we are for this. No, has to be controlled, has to be accountable, and you have to know where this money needs to be spent and how they are spent and what is the project that you accomplished.
So, what do you think is the best way that we can reorganize our spending? Like, where do you think we're spending too much, and where do you think we could be spending it more effectively?
Spending too much is if we do not, not everybody, it will never be everybody. So if we do not find the jobs for those that are in social service, if we do not control Section 8, if we do not fix the taxes, loopholes in the taxes. For instance, you have a legislation here in United States that big corporation, yeah, is a capitalist country, which is not really. When I compare with my country that I grew up and United States, it's not capitalist, completely capitalist, but of course has a lot. And we are going towards socialism, whether we accept or we don't. Let's say that we have one jar or one bank. Let's say it's one bank, and everybody goes and picks little by little, little by little. One day is going to be empty. How are we going to fix it? Yes, jobs, controlling these expenses, accountability, following the money, where the money is going, how is used. If you give me $100 to buy a dress, I have to show you that this is my dress that I bought it. Here is the receipt that I bought it. It cost me $100. Here is no, it's completely pocket with the holes. You just put it there and then they don't know where it's going.
Like,
Accountability is key, I think.
do you have any examples of where like money was spent but it's lost after like where it's going to? Like, what are some examples of money that was given to an organization and then it's just lost and we don't know what happens to it?
Well, it was in the news. How true is, I don't know. When Hillary Clinton was running for president and she was in a State Department, we heard, I don't know how true is it, that lost $6 trillion. Did you hear about anymore? No, we don't know where they are. Once. And second, who in any city or any county did the audit and saw the real budget? Did you, for instance, I would love to have somebody from public, independent, to go and check their budget, to go and check their expenses. Where did they go? Like a balance. I don't think so anybody does balance. I was an accountant. If you don't balance, and that is a lost money, we don't know where they are. We need a balance. I don't think so anybody has a balance sheet. If they have it, show to us that you receive this amount money from the government, this from federals, and those are used for here, those are used for, show receipts. Tell us, where is it? So it's no transparency.
So would you be for increasing the funding of the IRS so that they can track down all of the money to try and make a ledger of what's actually happening to it?
The IRS does do a good job, but sometimes is not completely transparent. And we need to know more information where they're coming from and who we're supporting. But we do have really, it's a key to the economy because IRS tracks a lot, at least what I hear, companies and big corporations. But I do think that we should support them, but they have to show us where and what the result is. If we give, like I said, balance and control, and show me, I give you the money, show me where is it, is no accountability.
So what do you think are some programs that are funded poorly? What do you think we spend too much money on that we should cut back on?
Well, we spend a lot of money, and I am in this position right now. I see it in Medicare, Medicaid. They have no idea. They clients might not be here, and they are getting billed, which I've been raising this issue, and the state is working now. They are looking for those loopholes. In Section 8, let's say that I know the government are paying for one person, for instance, $1,300 a month for rent. It's rent, but it's going, like I said, to developers. So let's say that every year is spending 10,000, 30,000 a year for one person. Get that 30,000 and 30 from another one and build a big building and put them in one bedroom. And it's owned by, for instance, city or whatever government, and you don't have to give it to individuals. And transition them to work and get them in their feet. Because put it this way, we have so many children that their parents either don't have a um, home, they are homeless, or they are living some shelter or stuff like that. What do you think we're going to have those young people when they grow up? They're going to be traumatic, mentally ill. They're going to have many issues. I think this is the issue that government should come up with a better plan for, and they spend nonprofit. So what is nonprofit? I would love to do. I'm at the end of the show. I will explain to you what I'm planning to do. But nonprofit is a socialist. You get this money and you do whatever you want and you just run away with, pay yourself, pay whoever you want to hire, is nonprofit. You don't pay taxes, nothing. You have the hospitals, Mercy Hospital. Mercy Hospital doesn't pay any water bill or property taxes, is nonprofit, is a charity. But I guess where the money goes? In Rome, Italy. From Mercy Hospital, they go to Boston, I think is the center there. And from Boston goes to Rome. Is it nuns? They own nuns own this, sisters. So got to be either you want to be capitalist or you want to be socialist. Those two doesn't go together.
So you mentioned what your plan is. What is your plan? How would you change this? Because I've always been a advocate of nonprofits. I think that nonprofits like churches or local churches can do well to support certain organizations. And I'd like to see more secular kinds of nonprofits like Red Cross, Red Shield, the health organizations, the ones that provide housing. Those seem like pretty good nonprofits.
They are very good nonprofits. But on top of those that you say that are very good nonprofit, you have nonprofit everywhere. Small ones, big ones, churches. I do not disagree for the churches. Churches receive from members. Every day they come with a basket to you. And the people are they feel obligated to pay to the church. You can pay your water bill. They are not contributing to homeless. I'm being honest. I'm completely honest. They don't pay to homeless. How many homeless they help? I know they are growing, but still, I don't see much activity on churches or on the mosques for Muslims. I've been not in the mosque. I haven't been yet, but I've been working with the Muslim communities, and they say they do lots, but come on, either we're gonna work, all we're gonna work, or don't shelter some and work to death some others. Middle class is killed here.
So would you be for getting rid of all nonprofits?
Or put it this way, Red Cross, Blue Shield, and some big organization, those, they are showing that, for instance, we need those in some type of, for instance, emergency. We have to have some. Doesn't have to be from the nonprofit. The government can. To be honest, from the country that I am from, and from the country I'm here, that I have in totally different. I would think that let the private section work, and meantime, you as a government, instead giving this money to those nonprofit and those things, work it yourself. If the private section, so here is the thing: you have two teams. So one team should be government, and one team should be private, and they can work against each other, not in bad way, but I mean, for instance, the private will compete with us, with the government will pick, for instance, let's say that you're going to have always lower class, higher class, and middle class. So those lower class cannot afford to go to the private. You can step in because you are stepping already, but the benefits or the support is not going straight to the public. It's going to certain office, certain organization. If it's going directly to the public, why you have people under the bridge every day? And there are millions of dollars that are going towards homeless. With that millions of dollars that Baltimore City has, I would shelter everybody with their own house, and I will give the keys and say, "Here is your house, and now do whatever you want. If you become homeless, it's on you. I will not take care of you anymore." So it's a lot of expense that can be tracked down.
So would you just tax all of the organizations and get rid of tax exempt status for everything pretty much?
For taxes, I am flat tax. It would be transparent. It will be closing the loopholes. Let's say that I make here $100,000. For $100,000, government will know how much I'm going to pay. But if we do those, deduct here, deduct there, you know how much we are stealing to Paul and paying Alfred. So it's not transparent. I'm not for corporation to be taxed to death, because then we don't have competition. They should have exempt, for instance, that like they do, but not completely. You have corporation, they are making millions of dollars, and they are not paying. And you have middle class that is working 2-3 jobs and are paying tons of taxes, and they cannot raise their kids the way society expect to.
So how would you close the tax loopholes? What would be the
Flat,
strategy?
flat tax for everybody.
Well, I mean, like, how would you get that passed in the Senate? Because the problem is that most of the people in the Senate are controlled by lobbyists and money, like you mentioned earlier. And so it's going to be very hard to get the Senate to actually make changes that affect their income, their bottom line. So how would you encourage the people in the House of Representatives, the Senate, and Congress to actually implement laws that would go against their financial interests?
Well, this might not be that. I agree, for instance, that is very difficult and is not going to be passed. But here, what I would do, I will first prepare the legislation and present it to all of my colleagues. For instance, let's say if I'm pretend that I am congresswoman in Congress, and try to convince them that this is for the best of the country, not for the best of me or you, but it's for the best of the country. And if they don't want to, and then I will go directly to the public. Like I'm knocking the doors for you to vote for me. Now I'm coming to knock in your door to support me, because if you feel that is right, they might feel that is not right. But I believe that entire public would love to have this passed, because especially middle class is killed, and the society will be much better place. They will have more time to raise their kids, and we have more intelligent people, intelligent kids, and crime will come down.
What is your view on inflation or the current inflation? How would you combat the inflation crisis?
Okay. The first thing, the first day that President Trump took office, and I heard that he closed the pipe or whatever it was, and basically the gas prices is the
Is it
key.
Biden? Biden
But
closed
he closed. You remember that he closed it and stuff like
pipeline?
that. The gas started rising slowly. So when I debate with my friends, they said, no, it's not true. Gas prices rise when
Putin?
war started, but it's not true. The day one President Biden took the office, and he closed those pipelines or whatever it was. And I said, if I have a chance and if I have access to President Biden, to tell him that if you do this, you're going to lose on next election, because affects everybody's table, every kitchen table. So everyone depend on the gas. They go to work, they pay bills on a heat, and it's necessary, the gas. And United States, I believe, they have sources to distribute entire world with the gas, and yet we are spending trillions buying gas from Middle East and wherever we get that. And I believe the inflation, if we do not get together. Number one is a farm. We all have to support our farms, because there is the food that is coming. So we don't care for Putin if he does anything, as long as it doesn't shoot us with the with the bombs and things, but which we're not letting him, of course. But I mean that we need to be strong in our country, in our cities, in our suburb. We need to focus on a farm. We need to focus on producing stuff in United States, and don't depend in China, or don't depend on anybody. And then inflation will slow down. It's not going to end, but it's going to come slowly down.
How would you deal with like subsidies? Like the government offers many subsidies for different things, like sugar subsidies, subsidies for clean energy, subsidies for education. Do you think the subsidies that the government offers are good, or should we change those?
Um, we do need to have that subsidies. It would support entire, if it would support entire country. Now, clean energy. Um, I am for clean energy, but we are not ready to be completely pollution free. So therefore, we should work. Okay, the highway is two ways. One comes up and one goes down. So great. We need energy, green energy. We should focus our sources to grow. But in meantime, we cannot stop the other side. And we do need substitute for now, but controlled. We have to control.
You mentioned that you need term limits because without having term limits, it makes things unfair. What would you put the term limits for like the SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States? What do you think the term limit should be for a politician?
Supreme Court, it's like communism. They go there and die there. Why should a Supreme Court should be no limits? I believe that if you calling yourself a democratic country, you should have Supreme Court term limits too. Congress should not have more than 2 terms. So, if, for instance, let's say that I'm in Congress today, I will have 2 term limits. If I cannot accomplish what I said for my district for 4 years, I will never be able to accomplish anything more, because 4 years is enough for me to show to the community how strong I am. And put it this way, it's very difficult. And that I picked Congress because you are almost in top and you have all the necessary tools. To build a house, you have to have good tools, or to build a car or stuff like that. So in a Congress, I will have good tools so that I can come and build my community. And if I'm not going to be able to build it for 4 years, I'm going to be sleepy in my office, because I can do what I'm doing in the Congress. For instance, I can come in a community and do better because I will have experience. I still will have my trust in Congress if I work hard, and still I will be able to come to the community and work. Doesn't mean if you are 2 term limits and you are done, you are dead, unless you don't want to work. You have more option to come and work, and never stop working for community.
You mentioned that at the end of the interview, you wanted to talk about what you're planning to do, and we've got about 10 minutes left. So did you want to outline what you're planning to do going forward?
Okay, yeah. I had pleasure to meet with Speaker of the House last Saturday, Maryland House, and I explained to her what I am planning to do, and exactly what you or somebody else will ask, "Well, why you want to do this." Uh, I tomorrow, a matter of fact, I have an appointment with somebody that have a is in probation, have gun issues, gun control. Well, I was found guilty with a gun, and now my thing is that is if we pull those people one by one towards us, and we show the way they should love, respect, job, get them together, and I believe that is going to affect a positive way. So what I want to do, I want to get in contact with his officer, and I'm going to be the person that I want to discuss that if he makes any mistake, that would be me, that take me to jail. But in meantime, I need to work with that person before. And I'm going to meet tomorrow with his mother. His mother was crying. She has my son, she has said that he has 3 kids and he wants to change his life. So I would work with those people that want to change their lives. And we need to change the attitude and the way we approach those people, because they might be through a lot. And she was very impressed, and she said, "I will support you, but it's dangerous." I know it is very dangerous, I said. I will promise you Maybe I'm not going to have time to get back here, but I will email you what is the progress. As soon as I work with this individual, if I am successful, I will go back to the speaker and bring what I have done and what I want to do with other
So
individuals.
what would be like successful? What would you count as a successful outcome?
On this, if I will be able, for instance, like I spoke on the phone and with his mother, and he is willing to turn his life around. He wants to have a job. He wants to raise his kids, not the way he was raised or he is now in this position. So, for instance, outcome, if I will be able to get this in positive way, in a good standing, and turn him around, I believe that with him will come 3 kids, will come his wife. So that means I will make impact on 4 people. But if we get another one, and put it this way, if you tell me right now, oh, you are so stupid, you don't know what you're talking about it. How are you going to be in Congress? And I feel to myself, I'm going to say, oh my gosh, he's right. I'm stupid. You know what I mean? So we have to show them care and love that maybe they didn't have. Some people, they came from parents they was in drugs, or uh, some they don't know their parents at all. So we're going to try to pull one by one, not in team, but one by one. And if we have results, sometimes we're not going to have results, positive results. But many of them, maybe they will come and change their lives. And that is my point, to change anybody's life and to give them love if I could.
Awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate you telling me that. Well, we've been going for about an hour. Really appreciate you coming on. It was a great conversation. Do you want to give any links or references where people can find more about your work or how to support the person who you're advocating for in place for the U.S. House?
Um, well, I'm planning to run. I don't know if I want to see this project first, how is going to work, this project. And Liri for Congress is my website.com. And my Facebook is Liri Fusha. And my page is Friends of Liri Fusha. They can go there. And to support my project and to support the community. If they have any idea, if they have any comments, I read somewhere they said wants to practice the fascist. No, I don't want to practice the fascist. I'm here to show you that what is the communism, what is the fascist, that you may know only in the books, but I grew up with that. And I don't want to go on where I was. If I want to, I can leave tomorrow, get in a plan. And the other thing is that I would love to run for 2 years, not 4 that I am for 4 years. And if I am successful in this project that I want to start, I want to go back to my country and bring all the Western policies and procedures and how the Congress works here, so I can get it back to my country, and hopefully we can spread it all over, and we can make entire world in same. We'll never be in same page, but they will follow us because they have a great policies. Don't get me wrong, it's the best country in the earth, but we need to close some loopholes and get back where we were, where the United States was, that everybody would call like a god. God is here, they would say. I remember when we have in 1997, we burned everything. I was in operating room, and the 20 years old, it was in the street that was shut. and I tore my shirt and I tied his thigh so that I can save his life. And they pulled me, and I got all scars and put me in the glasses that don't save his life. And when 4 days the government left us under the tunnel and went in Greece, we was by ourselves killing each other. No government, nothing. When I saw United States airplane, I kissed the ground and I said, God is here for us. He's saving our lives. They did save my life. And that United States I want to be back, which is not right now. And same thing did with Kosovo in 1999. So many people was killed. So many kids was killed. And it was United States that went there and stepped in and freed them. We never forget that.
Awesome. Thanks again for coming on. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Talk to you later.